Good evening, everyone. I think we'll give 5 minutes for others to join. Hi, I'm Katile Mutuku and we'll be moderating our session today as Faith Karuki will be joining later. So kindly feel free and we'll start the session at, I think, 7 or 5. So this will be our second last session. So I hope you learn more and more. Okay, good evening, everyone. I think for those who had joined earlier, we said that we start at 7:05. So as I said, I'm Katile Mutuku. I think we have interacted with most of you, and I will be your moderator today. And Faith Karuki will be co-moderating the session when she joins. So today is our 4th session on interview skills. We have been having training on basics of interview psychology, making the first impression, and planning and preparation. Actually, this is our last session on interview skills. So that's why I want us to
Katile, we can't hear you.
Sorry so much. I just lost my network. So our topic is acing your interview. And mostly, I think the speaker will be dealing on how to answer questions on interviews and during interviews, as you have gone through how you can plan for interview, how you can make your first impression, how you can prepare yourself psychologically. And now, today we are now in the interview. So what will you do during now the interview? So without me taking a lot of time, I just want to invite the speaker and take over the session. So I'm looking forward for an interactive session. You can use the chat box for questions, or you can raise your hand and the speaker will take over. Welcome so much, Madam Diana.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Katile, for another opportunity to meet the team that is expectant of today's topic, to learn and ace in their interviews and get their career starting. Without further ado, today I want to take 1 hour in this session because it has been a progressive session in preparation in terms of how you're supposed to write your CV, how you're supposed to write your cover letter. I would want to take as minimum time as possible in my presentation so that we have a lot of time in asking questions. So I wouldn't want us to delay in regards to waiting for someone to ask a question. So have your questions ready so that probably by 8 we are done. So hope you learn a lot and be ready to go into those interviews with confidence. Just give me a minute. Katile, are you able to see my screen?
Hello, no.
Not yet?
Yeah.
Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Katile, give me permissions to share my screen.
Hello, I think you can share.
Mhm. I'm being told it's disabled. Okay. You can see my screen now. Can you see my screen? Hello,
Yes.
can someone see my screen?
Yeah,
You
we can
can,
see
huh?
them. You can see them. Yeah, I can see it. I can see it.
Okay.
It's very.
Okay, thank you. Let's go ahead. So today we are learning on how we should ace our interviews. My name is Diana Kirote Gitonga. I'm a certified human resource practitioner. I am a HR at Adept Technologies. I'm a HR consultant and I'm a mentor. Onto the first slide. This is going to teach us on how we should meet our interviewer or the interviewing panel. And what are we looking at here? Before we meet our interviewers, we should research the company. Last time I said that when you research the company, you're able to meet, especially on LinkedIn, you're able to meet the people who are working in this company. And when you enter into that interview room, you might find one or two people. And having researched the company before, it means you will have learned some names, you will have known their roles, you will have known their accomplishment. And this makes it so easy for you to create that first impression with them, because probably you will learn their names quicker. You will probably know what kind of questions you expect from this person. For example, if you saw the CEO's profile and he appears to be in the interview panel, you know that it's going to be a bit serious. So you need to up your interview skills. Consider the nature of the interview. So one, there are different kinds of interviews that we expect to have. We said one, you'll either find one person interviewing you, and the number can grow to a panel of 5 or 6, depending on the level of the job that you're being interviewed for. So you need to consider the nature of the interview. So one, if you're a junior person and you're being interviewed for an entry level role, just know that the questions will basically be all about your personality, your past experiences in terms of attachment. When you consider someone of a higher level, like line managers or a manager, then you expect your interview to be more practical in terms of situations you've handled, your experiences, have you met targets, what are your achievements? So you need to consider the nature of the interview depending on the role you've applied for. Practice potential interview questions, which is very, very important. When you practice potential interview questions such as situational, behavioral, stressful interviews, then meeting the interview panel or the interviewer will be very easy, because you have practiced and you're prepared to tackle any question you're given. Prepare a list of questions you want to ask. It is, we say that you need to prepare yourself, and this is one of the things you need to do before you meet the interviewer or the interviewing panel. You prepare a list of questions that you intend to ask. Especially goes into the last level of, do you have any questions for us? Some of us tend to forget, like you're so nervous during the interview that when it comes to that last section, you say, I don't have any questions. It is important to just note down. I said you need to carry a notebook, and this notebook serves the purpose of writing the questions you will be asked, remembering that an interviewer might ask you 3 questions in one. So it is important to carry a note and a pen, and feel free to note down the questions as you're being asked, so that even when you answer, you're able to refer to them easily, apart from telling the interviewer, pardon, kindly repeat your question. Then thank the team at the end of the panel. First of all, you thank them when you start, and thank them at the end. This we will see when we continue. Our communication skills, what do we look for here? We are going to learn in terms of using appropriate pitch and volume. When you go to that interview, ensure that you're not too low, that you're whispering, that the interviewer keeps on asking you, kindly repeat, we are not hearing you, please be loud. Or do not also be too high, like you're screaming or you're shouting. Just learn to have a conversation with the person you're talking to. Listening skills. You need to be a very good listener so that you're able to grasp the key points that you're being asked and what the question is asking you for, rather than just be a quick person who just answers question. You need to you need to learn how to breathe in and out, be comfortable before you start the session, ensure that you are ready for the interview when you're composed. And this will enhance your listening skills because now you're able to interact with the interviewing person when you're calm and at peace with yourself. Responsiveness. This is how you respond to your questions. You'll say, thank you for that's a very good question. If you're very confident in a question, I always say, that's a very good question. And you go ahead and say, you give your answer to that question. If you do not know how to answer a question, you would probably say, at the moment, I'm not conversant with that area, probably because you're applying for a very junior role. It is very important, as the next point says, being honest. I would just like to join them together and say that when you don't know how to answer a question, just be honest and say, I'm not conversant with that role probably, or I've never handled such a scenario, but given this opportunity, I will learn on the job, and probably with my strength of being a leader or being a problem solver, I will definitely know how to handle the situation. Being clear and concise. This also goes hand in hand with responsiveness and honesty. Being clear means you don't beat around the bush. If you know an answer, take your time. You're not in a hurry. You've not been told you only have 30 minutes. Give yourself time to answer. Compose yourself, put your thoughts together, then now go ahead and give your answer. So you need to be clear and concise. And if you don't know the answer we said, you do not beat around the bush, because this actually shows how unclear you are about the job you're applying for, how you don't do research on something. Just say, given the opportunity, I'll probably go ahead and research. And when I report to work, I will be conversant with your question. Using humor. This point can be tricky because it is good when you know how to handle the situation, and it can be tricky if you do not know how to handle humor. So in this point, I would want to say that you need to go with the pace of the interviewer. Let the interviewer lead you. If the interviewer brings up a joke, then you can go ahead and respond to it, but don't overdo it. For example, the interviewer would say, looking at your CV, I can see that probably you gave birth recently. How sure are we that your baby, you will not keep on calling home to check on your child? And that's kind of humor. So you need to be very decisive on how you answer the question. And this also brings out your relationship wise in terms of gelling with new people easily. So at this point, I would say do not overdo it, but also learn to accommodate humor in your interviews. Respond by laughing and saying, that's very funny, that's very interesting, and then you go ahead and answer, but don't overdo it. Being polite, say thank you for the question. If you came late, we said you need to apologize. Probably you just give a small explanation and say, I was held up in traffic, but I'm here now. We can go ahead with the interview. So learn to be polite. Say sorry, probably if you kept them waiting. That shows that you're humane, you respect their time, you respect that this is an interview and it needs to be honored. Asking questions, we said you need to have a list of questions that you need to ask, especially at the end of the interview. Dealing with difficult situations, I would want to delve a bit in this one, because it is where most of us fail. because these situations show how nervous or how unconfident we are in the roles that we are playing for. So how do we deal with difficult situations in an interview? And I want to address them like this. One, when you have gaps in your CV, how do you address this? For example, you left university and you've stayed for like 1 year without a job, and the interviewer asks you, you left university a year ago or 2 years ago. What do you have to show for it? Or why haven't you been getting jobs? That's one of a difficult situation, and probably you could answer it like this. As you can see from my CV, I went ahead and enrolled for this certification or this training. I was involved in community service, and you've actually stated them down in your CV. And you will say, yes, I've been looking for a job, but I've been doing 1, 2, 3, as it reflects in my CV. For those who've been pregnant, it is not an offense. You go ahead and say, Mother Nature called and I gave birth, and now I'm back into looking for a job so that I may be able to provide for my family and also have income to progress in my education. So rehearse those answers when asked such a question. The other difficult situation we find ourselves not answering well is on salary negotiations, and which I handled last time, saying that you need to learn, first you need to see if the salary has been stated on the job advert. If it has, then you need to know how flexible you are, because you don't expect companies to go beyond what they have stated. If they have not, then it is an open check for you to practice the negotiation skills on how you'll get the best salary out of the interview. Different career paths. I have faced this because I changed my career from hospitality to HR, and it creates a picture of someone who is not decisive or someone who is all over the place. But I would want to say that you need to be very intelligent and wise in how you handle such a question. So I would ask you, probably you have done a diploma in marketing, you have done a degree in engineering, and you've gone ahead and done a master's in project management or in HR. So why are you looking at your CV? It looks like you're all over the place. It shows that you can't settle in one area, or you keep on jumping from one organization to another. And you need to have known how to put across your answer in terms of, I'm very passionate about this area. That is why I went ahead and pursued this degree or this certificate. And I know it's going to be beneficial into my career because it gives me this and these skills into being the best person for this role. So that can actually put you off if you do not know how to handle such a question. When dealing with difficult situations, I would want to put them in these four subtopics of situation, task, action, and result. And I gave these points again last time because all questions that we ask in an interview will probably want you to focus on these four points. So when you're asked for a question, then, for example, you need a situation. When you're answering, you need to answer like giving a situation, a task, action, and result. So in a situation, you need to explain the context of the situation you experience, including relevant details. After that, you give a task. For example, I was the receptionist, and I was supposed to welcome guests and show them the rules. So you discuss your responsibilities on your role in the situation. What action did you do? Describe how you overcame the challenge or faced the situation. For example, you had rowdy visitors in the hotel, and they caused chaos that the other guests did not have a peaceful night. So you describe how you overcame that. So you say probably, I went door to door and raised the concerns, and the other guests were apologetic, and the employees.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Me. Excuse me. The
Yes.
slides are not moving. You're still on the first slide. The screen is
Really?
not moving. Yeah.
And now? And now? Can you say anything?
Not yet. We see, but
Okay,
it's on the first slide.
okay, let me stop sharing, then I share again.
Okay.
Can you see? Katile?
Yes, yes.
Yes,
Now
it has.
visible. You can see the communication skills.
Now
Yeah.
it's moving.
Yes.
Okay, so we are dealing with difficult situation, and I've said that you can be given a question where you need to answer give an answer in terms of giving relevant examples using these steps. So we've said that one, you need to state the situation you were involved in, the task or the responsibilities you played in that situation. What was your action? So you describe how you overcame the challenge or faced the situation. For example, if you're a marketer, the company was dropping down in terms of revenue and GP. How did you overcome that? Probably you will say we did more of an advertisement and posting on social media. And the final thing is the results. So you share the outcome you achieved through your action and be as specific as possible. So that is where you say, through the year, we saw growth of revenue by 20%. We saw reduction of patients into the hospital by 5%. So you need to observe these steps in terms of answering questions where you are asked, give us a situation, how did you handle it, what was the outcome, and what results did you see at the end of the day. So our last slide will be a step-by-step checklist to success. So this is an overview of the process of an interview. So we say that when you arrive there, what should you do? You greet them, good morning. Have you been invited for an interview in the afternoon? We said you need to be conversant with the timings. You say good morning, good afternoon. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Hello, my name is Diana. It's nice to meet you. So during the interview, what should you do? During the interview, you'll say, pardon the interruption. I'm sorry, please continue. I didn't hear you. So these are things that you need to grasp as you move on with your interview. After the interview, what are we expected to do? Thank you for this opportunity. So you thank the panel, you thank the interviewer for the opportunity they've given you. I appreciate your time. I look forward to speaking with you. So this is just an overview of how an interview goes from beginning to end and what is expected of the interviewer. Time for questions. Maswali? I said today we want to learn from the questions. So we have 30 minutes.
Hello.
Yes. Tracy, are you speaking? You don't have questions today? Are we together?
Yeah. Hi, Diana.
Yes, Abigail.
I have a question, not concerning the part. It's a question concerning after the interview. So,
Okay.
and you told like we're going to contact you after 2 weeks or after a week, and then the week passes by and you've not yet received any communication. Is it okay for you to like call them or write to them asking for a feedback?
Yes, we appreciate if you do an email and not call, because you don't know if I'm in a meeting or held up or I'm on leave. So it is important if you do an official communication through email, and you need to be wise to write it in such a way it's not offensive. Just write, I would like to follow up on my interview. As you had stated, you'll communicate after 1 week, but don't be so direct that it's just 1 week and you communicate. At least give them 2 weeks. Then from there, you can reach out to them for feedback.
Hello.
Yes, Tracy.
Oh, I have a very funny question.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you've just come from university and you are interested in getting a job from a certain company, and they have not yet advertised for vacancies for jobs. Can you just apply if they've not advertised the vacancies?
Yes, Tracy, that is a good attitude. You should go ahead and apply for internship. When you see a company is not advertising for any jobs, it means they are currently filled up, but they will never lack an opportunity for an internship or an attachment. So you should just do applications for internships, or especially now you said you're leaving university. So for you, all you want, your interest is to get exposure and get an entry point to an organization that you will grow in. So when you're doing an application, it is an application for internship or attachment. But so the thing I know is when you're in university breaks, you go for attachment. When you graduate now, you go for internships. When you say internships, for me as a HR, I will know you want some stipend to facilitate probably lunch and transport. But if you say attachment, that will limit you from just the stipend, but just knowing that probably you don't have more experience in your career. So I would advise anyone leaving university to apply for internships. That will give you an opportunity to probably get some cash to facilitate your transport and meal. Tracy, have I answered you? Someone is asking, John is asking, may you clarify on the question of tell us about yourself? Nowadays, our time is limited, and I would want to say that when you've sent your CV application, we've already gone through it. And we know your name, we know the university you went through. So when I ask you to please tell me about yourself, yes, you can tell us your name. Then now this is an opportunity to highlight your key skills and your key achievements as to why we should hire you. So when you're introducing yourself, yes, you might say, my name is Diana Kirote. I am applying for the role of, so that if they're interviewing you for the wrong position, they might you clarify it, because you find sometimes people coming for an interview, which is a wrong interview. So you say, my name is this and this, I'm coming for this interview for the role of a marketer, you know, and then from there, now you go ahead and state your key qualifications, your key achievements that you want to pinpoint in your CV. Just don't go through your CV again, all over again from beginning to end. We want someone who will just kickstart the interview with oomph. Then from there, that makes a lasting impression. John, have I answered your question?
Derek, you can ask your question.
Okay. Hi, Diana.
Hi.
How are you this week?
Sorry, Derek, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wanted to know how you are faring on before I ask my question.
I'm doing well. Thank you. And
So,
yourself?
I'm also doing well.
Okay.
Just making follow-ups with these nice discussions that you normally hold on a very critical time of the week. So basically, first of all, my first question goes to, after the interview, suppose you are just done with the panel. Now they are just telling you to, that open forum of ask us anything. Is it okay to ask them how you fared on? And or if you have a chance maybe to rectify on ABC?
Okay.
Yeah, that is one.
That's a very good question, but I would want to put it like this. You don't go so direct to ask them how you fared on the interview. I would probably ask them this question that I usually do. If I qualify for this position, what areas do you find a challenge in that you would want me to come and address as my first 3 months or in my probation period? What strengths do I have that you think will be beneficial to your organization? That way you're getting feedback as to one, is your CV or what you've answered related to what they're looking for? And also, when you ask the second question in terms of what would you want me to address, it gives you feedback of are the challenges what you're capable of doing. So it also reflects on how your CV is and what they are looking for. So that's why I'm saying during an interview, you need to be very wise and very intelligent. You use your listening skills in terms of what are they really asking me for. Don't just go ahead and answer a question because you think you know. Pay attention to the key wordings in the question. So yes, Derek, it's good to ask the question, but not that direct of, have I passed the interview, you know, or how have I fared? They'll probably tell you, you will know when we give you feedback in 1 or 2 weeks, then you've not gotten an answer. The thing is, ask them such questions of, if I was to join you, what would you want me to address? What does success mean in this role? Then you see, when they give you feedback, you're like, yes, I check this one, I'm a bit weak on this area. So you need to know that, yes, I think I'm 50, I have passed the interview 50%, 80%, or you'll be like, hey, hapa, sioni. So at the end of the day, you know, you manage your expectations.
Thank you.
Welcome. Someone is asking, how is one supposed to answer when asked, what do you like least about your job? Would someone in their group want to try and answer that? If I asked you that in an interview, how would you answer so that I see if you're learning something? What do you like least about your job? I'm giving someone a chance. You never know the deal for today, so you better try.
Hi, Dana.
Yes.
This is Alungwa.
Yes.
Okay, if for me, if I got such a question, I wouldn't answer that there are things I dislike about my job, but I would say that there are challenges in every job, and then try to highlight some of the challenges and the way you try to maneuver through those challenges, but you don't say, I like this list about my job or something, or I don't like this, or I like, you just highlight that there are some challenges and how you maneuver through challenges, something like that.
Very good, very good. I like your answer, and that is what we usually look for. Those are called, they are very direct, but we don't want you to also be very direct with the answer that we are looking for. So this is an opportunity to answer saying, yes, every job has a challenge, and we don't expect every job to be just smooth and you're always happy. You'll always find challenges along the way, and those are the challenges we want you to highlight. For example, a marketer or a salesperson would say, I would face these challenges in my job, like I'm expected to work past my working hours. I expect to be called early in the morning or late at night to handle a client or to close a deal. I would expect to face a challenge of pressure in terms of meeting my target. So yes, this is a very important question because we are looking at how you will handle challenges, and one, if you know them. For example, as a HR, I am expected to know how to handle grievances, how to handle disciplinary issues. It's not something that any human being would love to do or love to handle in a day-to-day in work environment, but it is a challenge that when you are good at your job, you are able to deal with them and get positive results. So we want to see how you know. First is to know if there are any challenges that you expect in your role, and secondly, how will you handle the challenges when you face them? So that question will probably trigger you to answer it like that way. But don't say, oh, what I like least about my job is that it doesn't pay well, because we know that those careers that you really have to work over years to get that salary that pleases you. So you just don't go ahead and say, hey, this career, you have to work so hard for you to get that. But you never know. Probably you are gifted differently or you're favored differently, and you find yourself getting to that salary that you want in less years than others. So that is how you need to answer that question. Well answered. Faith is asking, how do you stand out in a group interview? Very good question. Yes, again, I'll give someone in the participants to answer, then I can reinforce on it. How do you stand out in a group interview? Just using the things I've given you over the 2 weeks. How would you go about this? Someone to try?
Let me give it a try.
Yes, Abigail.
First, you have to highlight why you think you're best for the job as compared to other interviewers. To highlight what makes you how do I put it? I don't know the word to use, but you highlight your skills that are related to that particular role they're advertising. And also what you experience, and also ensure that when highlighting the experience you have, it's something related to the role you are interviewing for. And lastly, also your personal attributes should ensure that the personal attributes you're highlighting are the ones that were maybe highlighted on the job advert or the roles or responsibilities or the roles they were looking for that position.
Okay, very good. You've captured some of the things I would mention. Someone else, I want a second opinion on that question. How would you stand out in a group interview? Second attempt. How do you stand out in a group interview? Anyone who wants to try? Okay, what Abigail has said is, yes, Dennis. Go ahead. Go ahead.
When you are in a group or an interview, probably people will be having different examples of how they had their past experience and different. So you should have a unique one that will pop up through over all the other example, making you a best candidate for the company or the interview.
Yes. That's your answer?
Yeah, that is my answer.
Okay. Okay, good. One more minute for someone to answer. Anyone else who wants to try? Okay. When you're in a group, what does that mean? Mostly when you're in a group, we will be given activities to do. So they're group interviews. So you'll find a company calling for about 20 people in a room, and then you'll be grouped in groups of 5. Then probably you'll be given activities to do. So in these group interviews, one, we want to see who is a leader. So there are people who lead from the front and there are people who lead from the back. So we want to identify the leaders in groups. We want to identify influencers. You might be someone who's very quiet, but when you speak words that hold water. And there are people who are very loud, but they don't say anything. So those are the things we look for in a group interview. We also want to see people who are very creative in terms of probably you've been given a task. How are you communicating to one another? Are you giving people a chance to speak in that group, or you're just the one who knows everything? We are also looking at how do you solve conflict? For example, yes, there are people, it's the first time you're meeting these people and they're not agreeing to your idea. Are you able to step back and give them a chance to say their idea and see what comes out of it? We also want to see someone who is able to probably identify that probably the task is not achievable, and you might raise your hand and tell the interviewer, looking at this task or this question, I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4 challenges. Would you like us to address it this way? This shows that you're someone who thinks outside the box. You just don't follow things that are given to you, but you're someone who would question and ask for redirection. So that is the aim of group interviews. Have we learned something there?
Yeah.
Are we? Yes. Thank you for that contribution, Abigail and Dennis.
Yeah. Okay.
Onesimus, you're back. You want to ask a question?
Some network connections.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm saying that I'm satisfied. I'm okay.
Good, Onesimus. Anyone else? So on the chat, we've already tackled the question on how would you deal a situation of salary negotiation that hasn't been quoted. Jackson, I addressed that last time, and I've also addressed it this time, that this is where you practice your negotiation skills. You either give a range, for example, my salary expectation is 50 to 100, meaning they should not surpass 50, or you can just give one figure of, my expectation is 100,000. So you can either choose to go either way. And also, we have said you need to do research on the environment that you're applying for. Probably if you know someone, ask them, how are you paid? What are your salary ranges for this role? You can go to Google and write salary for a sales manager so that you're able to be given the gap, so that you don't overquote and you don't underquote, you remain relevant. Otherwise, if you overquote, you'll definitely not be considered for the role. If you underquote, it shows that you're not qualified for this role, but you're just looking for an opportunity to just do a job. So Jackson, that is how you handle salary negotiation. How can one still feel confident for an interview when she doesn't know the right answer? We said when you apply for a job, the answers are on the JD. What we are looking for is someone who's going to meet those roles. So the JD should guide you on whether to apply for that job or not. And the questions definitely will be on how you can best achieve the roles on the JD. So you definitely know something, you can go ahead and try. And especially for students who finished universities, certificates, diplomas, you don't expect very hard and technical questions like someone who's been working for 5 and 6 years. Then that expects you to be very knowledgeable. So the questions will be definitely according to your level. And if they surpass your level, yes, we want to see how creative or how knowledgeable in terms of research you have done in the role that you're applying for. So Bilha, do research, learn on whatever job or career you are on, and you'll definitely have an answer to a question. And if worse goes to extreme, just say you don't know, but I'll research on it.
Hello, Diana.
Yes, Derek.
I have another question. Suppose, yes. Okay, some friends or some colleagues normally tell me that there is this notion of internal employment, where people are told at the job that we need some people and can you give us referrals? Then person X gives me a tells me that send your CV here, our company is hiring. So the person has not even told me the job that I'm where I'm applying for. I'm just sending my CV. Then I receive a call, I go for the interview. During that kind of interview, how should I carry myself out? Because one, I don't know what I'm applying for. I was just told by a colleague, a friend, to forward my CV. So when I'm asked, tell me about yourself, that time, do I also state that I'm applying for this job, which I wasn't even told from the word go?
Okay. I would want to ask you a question. When this person tells you there's a job, what makes you go for it? Don't don't ask that which position am I applying for? Maybe they want a CEO and you're just a graduate and you're applying for this job that you don't know the role. How qualified are you for this position that you're applying for, Derek?
Okay.
It is your responsibility to ask such questions of, yes, it is your friend who has referred you, which is very good, showing that there's an opportunity for you. But the question will be, okay, have they told you which role they would want us to apply for? Or you can even ask which department. You see, when you ask which department, then it guides you probably. If it's a technical department, you know what is expected of you. If it is a sales department, you know what it entails. So it is important for you as a job seeker to ask these questions. Probably even you don't know which company, you ask which company is this that you work for, where is it located? You see, that is part of doing research for your interview. So you just don't apply for jobs blindly, because that is a road to success, to failure. Sawa, Derek?
Okay, sawa.
Yes,
Then
it is important to ask for those questions. And it's also good to know that if such a person asks you to apply, then they know the salary, which gives an advantage. Ask them who does the interview, how do they communicate? Are they people who will ask you hard questions? So this is a great opportunity for you to really, really prepare for that interview. So use them by all means to your advantage. Derek, are you satisfied?
yeah, I am. It's just because it occurred some time back, and being IT being very diverse, maybe some big scope, it wasn't somehow defined. If you are going to support, if you are going to software, if you are going to cloud, it was just very diverse.
The other thing I would say, probably when you walk to any organization and you don't know the role that you're being interviewed for, you'll find a receptionist, right? Ask them, I'm coming for an interview. Kindly remind me what role they're interviewing for. Be also intelligent and wise in terms of how to go about things. Don't just be fixated. Have an open mind of how else can I go about the situation. Even the watchmen in these organizations are well informed. They are told tomorrow we'll be having interviews for this and this. Expect people to come. So ask the watchman, go to the reception, reconfirm. I'm coming for an interview. I applied long time ago. Kindly remind me what position they're interviewing for.
Yep,
Sawa,
exactly.
Derek.
Sawa. Then my last one before I let the others also go.
Yes.
I've finished the interview, then maybe by bad luck, let me just say by bad luck, I wasn't called after 2 weeks, but I received an email that they put my CV in their database for future reference, maybe if an opportunity comes up. So here I am, I have waited for 2 months. Can I reach out to the HR?
Yes,
Or
you can.
what
You
time
can.
should I reach out to maybe to ask if the opportunity is now available?
So you would probably go address it like this, do an official email and say, actually you forward the communication. You know how you reply to the message that you were sent.
Yes.
So you reply and say, dear so and so, I'm actually I take this opportunity to say thank you for the interview I did 3-4 months ago, and I'm just following up on my application that I did, and you gave me feedback that I'm in the database. I'm actually still interested in any opportunity that you might have to consider me. So it's like you're checking in and still saying that you're available.
when the company know that you are either desperate or you are idle, how will you remove
Of course,
that?
you don't have a job. You
Yeah.
definitely don't have a job. So you're just checking in with them if there's an opportunity for them to reconsider you. Because you see, when I'm telling you as a HR, you're in my database, maybe I have 1,000 people in my database waiting for that job. And the only people who will stand out are those who probably prompt me to remember them. And I'll be like, oh yeah, he did an interview. He's still looking for a job. That will save me time to go again and re-advertise and all those. So I'll be like, oh, this guy reached out to me last week. He's still available. We already did an interview and we know the score he had because we have you in our file of interviewees. We go and check what score did you get, what were your strengths. We remind ourselves about you. Now you see, we're not asking you. Now it is my work because I want to save company recruitment fee or recruitment expenses. I will go back to my file of candidates and look at, oh, Derek did this interview. He scored 80 out of 100. Why not give a try with him? Because he actually reached out, and that is easy for me to like call you back and say, yes, report next week. Because now I know you're available. I already know from the file, this is the salary you asked for. This is the salary you asked for. And you're definitely available. So why not call you and offer you the job? You've saved me a lot of time. You've saved me cost on recruitment. Yeah. So I would actually appreciate someone who will do that to my email and remind me of the availability.
And there's a part I didn't get you. After what period should I maybe write that email?
So after 2 weeks, you've gotten an email that you were not successful in the interview, but you're in the database. It's as a candidate who is like very you're really interested in this organization, definitely you keep tabs on LinkedIn. Unaangalia LinkedIn, wametuma ka advertisement, unaangalia articles. You keep on checking with them in terms of if there are any opportunities. And if they advertise something that is close to what you had applied for, that's when now you do. And hata kama ni a month, and you've seen like LinkedIn, for example, you're talking about being in an IT profession. And I've gone ahead, I interviewed you for, what is it called? For a help desk in IT. And now in a month's time, I'm recruiting probably a tier 1 engineer. Are you not qualified really for that job? However much it is, one level above your skills. It is kind of the same job, but yes, you will take time to give me results, but already I know that you have the basic skills to perform the job. So it also depends on how you did the interview that I'll be like, oh yes, Derek did the interview for a help desk, but I'm interviewing for a tier 1. But during the interview, I saw he has a positive attitude. He's willing to learn. And he's actually even from a very good university that I know I have recruited students from, and they've delivered. You see, so why not give a shot and remind me that, hey, I did this interview and now you're applying for this. Why don't you consider me?
Sawa, thank you.
Karibu. You have 5 more of my minutes. So Beryl is asking, how can one deal with the tension during the interview, especially finding yourself going blank during the interview, not because you don't know, but because of tension and fear? Last week, I said that when you first enter a room, you sit down, breathe in, breathe out. If there's a glass of water or a bottle of water, kindly go ahead and it's yours. It's not for anyone else. It's yours. Go ahead and drink. Learn to breathe in and out. We said how you dress is how you feel. If you dress badly, definitely you'll be not confident. So you need to dress and look the part. So that is a contribution to acing into your interview. Learn to say thank you. When you say thank you, it gives it you. There's a way you just feel, or you say thank you for that question. Give a smile. People tend to relax when there's that atmosphere of it's a conversation and not really an interview where they're scrutinizing you. Create that atmosphere where they feel it's just like I'm selling myself. So this is me. And this is what I'll give at the end of the day in regards to what you're willing to offer. Yes, Beryl? Kindly define a good university. A good university, all universities are good, but there are specific universities that are really well known for specific professions. I wouldn't want to mention names, but you know them. There are universities who are known of bringing out good teachers. There are universities who are very good with IT students who really progress well in their careers. There are universities who are known for management, project management, or nursing, or, you know, I won't mention names, but you definitely know what I'm meaning. So it's also good. For example, in hospitalities, over the years, we've known it's utalii, but now we are seeing other universities also picking up. If it is tourism, we know. If it is financial, we've seen people actually also, universities going a step further in doing them small, like KCA, we know accountants. If you want a good accountant, probably you'll get them from people from KCA universities. If it is a HR, you need to look for people who've gone through College of Human Resource Management. So those are the things that really stick out in people's CVs regarding the position they're applying for. Yes, Faith is saying that I think the more interviews you attend, the lesser the times you are tensed. You get used to the question and you no longer tend. Very, very true. Faith has said it. The more interviews you go, the more confident you are, because now you learn the questions they ask. You learn how to face people you've never known. You learn how to keep time. You learn how to handle stressful interview questions. So yes, the more interviews you go, the better you become. And the more you practice, the better you become. Speak to that mirror. Give yourself a role and say, today I'm being interviewed for a salesperson. You ask yourself questions and answer them. Then next week, prepare for a marketer, like that, depending on your area of professionalism. I would want to end there. Katile?
Can I ask the last one?
Yes. Yes, please.
Okay. Picture this scenario that you've applied for an interview, you've even scheduled, then you did your research 2 weeks before, you even known what the company does, its partners, it's everything, even the job that you're going for. Then on the very day you wake up, you go to the interview room, then at the panel, you just meet one person, the CEO, just seated there waiting for you. You didn't even, you have already done the research and you know this is the CEO of this company and he or she is the one interviewing you. No, the HR is not even there. Then during that session, the CEO just asks you very strange questions like, what do you do? How did you enjoy this morning? And if the interview is just the least thing that you expect.
Freestyle.
Yes. Then because suppose you are a loner, you're not that person, you're not an extrovert. Is it an extrovert? Yeah, you're an introvert. You don't perform the expectation for that day. Then the CEO just tells you, thank you, I'm done with the interview. We'll call you. So how do you walk out of that room? How do you judge yourself? What do you do during that time?
One, when you meet such a panel, I've been in such interviews. When you're a job seeker, you tend to meet different panels, different people, different levels of people in management, from the CEO to the MD to your immediate supervisor. Yes, it's intimidating. One, I would say it's intimidating because, you know, this is the owner or this is the person who drives this organization, and he will just say yes or no. Such people tend to be very particular in what they're looking for. So one, their questions are very few. Yes, there are very few. I would just say from experience, one, their questions are very few because at the end of the day, they know what that one specific thing they're looking for in an interviewee. So one, you need to first, yes, it's good you've done your research and you know this is the CEO. So that tells you need to be, you need to really listen to the question they're asking you, compose yourself, and be very articulate. And also now he seems to be very friendly also. Try and engage with him and probably engage him in terms of asking more about the company. Then he'll be like, oh, this person. And since you've researched, be like, oh, I've seen this company does this and this and this. I'm very good at this and this and this. If you seem to be very like not knowing how to answer his questions, for me, I would be driving towards him seeing my strengths and my achievements. So at the end of the day, he'll be like, he's not good, but I think I heard him say 1, 2, 3. I think from his CV, he said 1, 2, 3. He really knows our environment. He really loves, he really looks forward to joining us. And I think this is a consideration. Probably he's not seen that from the other candidates.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Katile, if you can take over. Thank you so much, guys. It has been very interesting, very informative. Thank you for making the sessions very interactive. I hope you have learned, you have gained skills and knowledge in terms of how to handle your interviews. And I can't wait to hear that some of you have been given offers. At Katile, I would want to probably get a follow-up on how many people practice whatever we've taught them over, I think, a month or more. That will be a success story for us. And that shows that you are not doing this in vain. Katile?
Hi, Diana.
Yes, Faith.
I think I'll take over from Katile. Ametoka kidogo.
Okay. Sawa, sawa.
Yes. She was holding on for me juu nilikuwa nimechelewa kazini kidogo. The session was amazing. Nilikuwa na so many questions for you and you've answered them. I am pretty sure the team has also enjoyed. We will give you feedback. The training is about to end. We are remaining with only one session. So after the one session, we will have a graduation for the team. And then from there, we can now be able to follow up on the team members, if they have gotten jobs, if they have gotten interviews, if they have been able to send their CVs and they have been called for interviews. So we will keep you updated. So I think
I would appreciate that. We want to hear the success stories.
Yes. It has been an amazing journey from the CV to the cover letter to the interview. I think now we are fully equipped and we are ready to join the job market. So I think that's it from
All the best, guys. All the best.
Yes.
All the best. Yes, I would probably give my number so that when someone goes for an interview, if they want to call me for clarification, they would reach out to me. 0714 374 043. 0714 374 043.
Excuse me, madam. Maybe,
Yes, Onesmus.
maybe you can repeat the number again.
It's there. Someone has written it down on the chat. Faith has done that for me.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, guys, I beg to leave. Good night and enjoy your weekend.
You too, greet your family.